Hey there guys, welcome to the channel. I just wanted to share you guys a computer that I got in my workshop right now. A gentleman had dropped it off and basically was an old system that he was using it for building decks and just construction projects, and it happens to use an old version of Autocad under Windows XP. So, and I'll show you what it looks like right now. So this is the machine here. I do apologize for the lighting, but yeah, it's an old Asus motherboard, which I actually happen to like. And yeah, it doesn't power on. Actually, it does, but it's the light on the motherboard just flickers like crazy, which I've never really seen before. And I've already kind of run through a few scenarios as to the reasoning behind it. I mean, it might not even, I haven't checked the CPU yet, but it just doesn't boot at all when you just, when you try to start it. So, so what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to get this Dell 960. I actually have two of these. So I know I shot a video where I built a gaming rig, which is actually this one right here, but I've got another one actually behind me, and just for the sake of the video, it's the same machine basically. Actually, I'll show you. This is it here. Not that. This is a test bench that I'm building right now, but here's the machine right here, and I have to just simply add the RAM and the CPU back and install a drive along with some hard drive cages for it, but it should do the job, and I'll get it going with his copy of Autocad, and he'll have a new machine much newer than his old one there that still has an AGP graphics card. But yeah, no, this thing will be quite a solid performer for him. I really like these Dells, and I'll see how it turns out. Yeah, so just going back to the old machine here, this is what's going on with the motherboard right now. It's just flickering like crazy, which yeah, I've never actually seen that before, but I think this thing it's safe to say, a system replacement is in good order, and all he really needs is just an older system, or an old system that can still run Windows XP, and then keep his current setup. He has an old printer, and he also has his AutoCAD 2007 that he wants to use. So he doesn't really need a full upgrade to like Windows 10 for something like that. He's just doing it for fun. So I think I'll be able to help him out. All right, so I plugged in this power supply into the motherboard. There doesn't seem to be another connection. This is what I was looking for. I remember telling him that I didn't looking for bad capacitors. I don't know if those are bad or they're just maybe they're just filthy. Anyways, I mean, the rest of it looks, I mean, I've seen worse. But yeah, I don't see another power connector on this motherboard. So I don't know. I'm gonna see what happens when we give her some power. So that's interesting. So I see a green light here. I don't know. I haven't connected the hard drive or anything like that, so I'm just gonna give this a shot. Really bizarre. Seems like it's connected. So I got power going to the motherboard now. It could also be that the CPU itself is just maybe it needs new thermal paste or something. We'll figure this out. All right. I'm just going to disconnect the power cable. See if I can short it out. See if that does anything. Nope. I'm not getting anything. Okay, sorry, I was just taking the ram out. It's pretty dirty in there. But I believe it's making good contact. I'm going to try turning it on without any ram in it. Well, I take out some ram just to see what, if it was like any kind of dirt in there. I don't know if that really matters, but try turning it on without any ram. I mean, I can't say that actually works, but oh man, I just ran out of air cleaner, or canned air, I should say. So, anyways. I want this thing to come alive. I really wanted to see what's in here. I mean, kind of see if we could save it, but I think this is like an old. I'm gonna check out this motherboard online, see what this could actually be. All right, so basically online, it looks like these take could be an Athlon in there or a Saffron processor in there. But what I'm going to try to do is actually get my Dell working. Just set it up here on the bench, and then I'm going to this guy right here, and then I'm going to see if AutoCAD works on that, which I'm sure it will. But and then if it does, then I might actually just go ahead and set up the other Dell that I've got and get that set up for this customer, because I don't know. I'm thinking that this thing is pretty pooched. I mean, it's got power, but I don't hear any. It's hard for you to see that, but yeah, I mean, it's got power with a different power supply, but it's just not booting at all. So it could be a number of things. Could be that the CPU, I mean, usually this would actually kick on a little bit and then turn off. If it was like the thermal paste, for example, it was getting too hot too quickly, it would usually, I think it would still work. So I don't know. It's a little bizarre. Still find it odd that there's no other power connector, but I guess it's just because this is so old, it just has this much power. That's all it really needs, unless I'm just not seeing it. But I'm going to double check in a minute here and then set up the Dell. All right, so I got my Dell that I put together in another video running. I'm still actually just using this machine until I plan on building a dedicated gaming rig for when it's just Windows XP alone. But yeah, I got the customer's computer on the ground here, or on the floor, I should say. I don't know. We're gonna see what we can do to get AutoCAD running on a different machine, and then I don't know. I think it might be safe to say this thing is seems to be dead. I mean, I've tried a different power supply. He said that he had someone else look at it as well and did the same kind of thing. So I just kind of do the due diligence, make sure it's something, maybe something else being overlooked. But I don't know. Seems to be. I even cleared the CMOS. Change the RAM around. If anything, the last thing it could do could be still the CPU may need some thermal paste on it, but other than that, I don't know, maybe something else. I do have another motherboard that had a similar problem like this, but like a later, obviously an X58 Asus motherboard that I did actually get the boot to a screen, but then it just would die. So I think with that one being more modern, it's maybe a Northbridge issue. But this one, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to kind of really figure it out. But it might be better off just working on a new setup for him. All right, so I'm just using a Sony 4x3 flat panel display, and let's see if we can get this thing operational or not. don't have the key code for this, so I'm gonna either have to see if I can find one, or he apparently is gonna dig through his paperwork and see if he's got one as well. So far, so good. Interesting. All right, I'm gonna go through this and just see if we can get it to work. So while I'm checking out the installation of the Autocad, just thought I'd show you guys this thing I was working on. This is just my, I call it the poor man's test bench. Basically, I probably should have just done a whole video on it separately, but I just took an old, whoops. I just took an old case, and I had some really old trim-clad rust paint that I haven't used yet. So this thing was actually full, and you know, I said, you know, I might as well just use it. So I mean, yellow's not a bad color. It's a little different, but I mean, rather than buying a test bench setup, I thought, you know, I just kind of convert an old case and just use it for now. But you know, it will suit my needs for in the meantime. There's the back panels right there from this one, but yeah, it was actually it actually had an Asus socket 775 motherboard in it, which I actually already had the same motherboard with a Q6600 in it. So I managed to get another, well, the same motherboard, just with a lower CPU in it. But it was kind of neat to be able to get the same one. I can actually maybe even make two identical machines. But yeah, just this it's kind of a neat side project that I was working on, and just kind of thought I'd show you guys how it looked. So to test my machine, basically, I actually removed my All-in-Wonder graphics card that I picked up. I guess just a couple weeks ago, and just wanted to make sure that this Dell can indeed run the AutoCAD 2007 without any kind of specialized graphics or anything like that. I mean, the customer's old computer didn't have any dedicated graphics card, so I figured probably all handled by the CPU, and which is obviously, I guess, more than adequate, and very little amount of RAM. Has a 40 gig drive in it right now. I assume it still works, but it's IDE, and what I'm going to end up doing is just upgrading him to a SATA drive, probably around the same capacity, maybe even double. I think that's probably the lowest I've got. Is probably even maybe an 80 gig, but we'll see. And he'll get a new, basically a new, quieter sounding computer for sure, with a lot more, well, definitely better airflow. I mean, this thing's got, well, the identical machine that I've got sitting behind me here just has one fan that just shoots air straight through it, and yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a lot quicker for him when I'm done. So I just put the machine back up on the bench, and I just noticed that I'm pretty sure this is supposed to have one of those there. This guy right there. Guess it's like another capacitor or a resistor of some sort. I'm not an electronics expert, but I think this is missing. And that's what's causing some of the problems. All right, sorry about that. I actually just made a mistake. Rather than editing it out, I actually just like to point out that I did make a mistake. I checked online and checked this motherboard itself, and it actually is supposed to be like that. So I just was assuming that it was missing, but because I literally was looking at something the other day that had this removed, and it kind of looked like that. But anyways, I don't know. I'm gonna just go ahead and set up the Dell and call it on this one. Okay, so I'm just gonna get to work on setting up this computer. I'm just starting with actually putting in a new CPU, and, well, cleaning it up first, and then installing a new processor and also some RAM for them. Forget how this goes. I might need. Oh, I think it actually just swings like this. Yeah, so I'll have to put a new CPU in there and get it going. But let's see if we can clean this up first. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is install this. It's actually going to be a Pentium 4 630, so it's definitely going to be a lot faster than his old, I believe it was a Saffron processor, but I'm going to install this one instead. Well, that wasn't very good, was it? Okay. That looks pretty good. I wanted to put a new CPU in here before I started doing more cleaning. Okay, so that's in. So just to kind of show you what this motherboard looks like, this is actually what is known as a BTX motherboard. So everything is kind of flipped around the other way. Normally, if imagine this was the bottom and everything was in reverse, all these I/O connections, like the PCI slots and everything, would be up here, and then the CPU usually would be up here for most cases. But around this time, Dell and I think IBM was making a lot of, actually HP as well was making machines that were based on this BTX layout. So the video cards tend to be down near the bottom. This machine would have been a little better for gaming if it had more space in terms of layout, but if you can get a narrow graphics card in here, you can kind of run some older games especially, but it's not really designed for that, not like some of the newer Dells. Okay, now for a nice cleaning. Picked up some of this Corsair thermal paste. I haven't tried this before, but it should do the job. Okay. That's it. Okay, here I'm just going to install 2 gigabytes of RAM. All right, let's try to test this out. Oh, that's not a good sign. So it turns out this machine doesn't accept anything but 6 different processors, or at least the original one will work. And the Pentium 4 that I was going to put in here, it just doesn't boot. So I looked online and it says it looks like you can only put in basically 3 different dual cores and 3 different quad cores. So I'm going to go ahead and just replace it with the original CPU, and we'll end up having a much more reliable machine in the end. Okay, so here's the moment of truth. Let's see if this will actually boot up now that I've swapped the processor and the RAM again. Ooh, look at that. We have life. Yeah. Well, let's see. Oops. Oh. Nice if I hit F2 instead. Okay, so we got here an E8400, 2 gigs of RAM. That should do it. Now it's time to just grab a hard drive and install Windows XP. Okay, so I installed a new, well, an 80 gig hard drive, and I'm just going to set up the drives themselves so that all you see. Okay, change the configuration. Oh, it'd be nice. It'd be nice if the mouse was on. Should be able to just turn these off. So I got one 80 gig drive, and I got the second one as a DVD drive, and that's it. So what I'm going to do at this stage is I'm actually going to install Windows XP. I'm going to throw the XP installation disk in the machine, and then I'm going to apply and then exit. Now it should boot from the CD. Unless, of course, this disk actually has Linux on it. Great. I'm gonna have to probably grab a different drive. Great. This has got Windows 10 on it. Brr. Shouldn't have anything on it. Well, I'm gonna have to reformat this, or install, get it to boot from the CD-ROM drive. Okay, so since it booted into Windows 10 and it didn't want to continue on, I decided to go back into the settings and then get it to boot from the CD-ROM only. So that should boot from the Windows XP CD. So let's see if this will work. Here we go. Okay, here I'm just erasing the hard drive to install Windows XP over top of Windows 10 installation. All right, so the system's all finished. We're going to do a test boot up here. I installed Microsoft XP and also Autocad, and let's see how it boots up. Here we go. It actually boots up a lot faster than my Dell that I've got here on the floor, and so that's my Dell that I worked on a few weeks ago as a gaming rig. I think I actually have to just change the boot order for it to make it run as fast as this one. And then this is the gentleman's computer here that is basically kaput. I'm going to end up just keeping the CPU in my processor collection, and he'll be happy to see that AutoCAD is working the way he wants. So basically this the gentleman's going to be using this to build decks for the summer, and that's all he's really going to be using this computer for. So nothing about going online or doing any kind of gaming or anything like that. So yeah, it looks like it's working quite well. Upgrading. Ask me later. All right. I'm not really that familiar with this software, so anyways, he should be able to get right to it. Thanks a lot for stopping by.